Oh, yeah, there we go. What's up, there, all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. One thing I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I'm wearing this LAFC shirt, and I want to say this now before I forget, because normally I'll just click stop record on a podcast and be like, oh, shit, we forgot to mention the MLS. But this is a LAFC MLS Cup Championship shirt. And the LAFC are the champions of the MLS Cup. And if you did not see that game, it is what finals should be. And Gareth Bale put in his work to get LAFC to the penalty stages where they won. And there's so many things that happened in this game. I just want to bring it up now, and hopefully we'll get to talk about it a little bit more later. But congratulations, LAFC and Seth. And I don't know if you guys saw the game, but I just wanted to say that. Also, we're going to talk about all four of our teams losing this weekend. Southampton lost. Southampton lost so bad, they were in search for a new manager. Chelsea lost so bad. Like, you know what's the funny thing about the Chelsea loss? I've never heard this term before, but it made me laugh. You got a 1-0 hammering. Did you hear what's his name? I forgot his name on whatchamacallit said that. So you got a 1-0 hammering. We got I'll talk about how lucky Aston Villa was to beat us 3-1. Perfect storm. I see a look on Lee's face. Spurs got what they deserved, and which was no points. Lopegui is going to be the new whose coach is he going to be? Wolves' new coach, and there's just so much. And we're going to talk about the group stages for the. Is it the group stages to be called?
It's the last 16 in the Champions League, and it's a playoff knockout in the Europa League to decide who goes through to the last 16 from the teams who finish second in their groups and the teams who come out of the Champions League.
Way better than I could have said it. And we're going to tell you about some of the matchups in those. So where do you bunch of losers want to start first?
I mean, well, we fired our manager, so if you want to cover that, we can.
Yeah, Southampton loses to Newcastle 4-1, and finally, after almost 1 month more, and it would have been 4 years that he would have been your coach. So explain to us what happened.
It just stopped working. Like, he was still getting like little runs of results here and there. It's like I've said on here before, like, he's just wildly inconsistent. Like, we'll look great for 2 or 3 games, and then we'll be bad for like 6 or 7. And you can't survive like that long term. It's we're in the relegation zone now. Other teams are starting to pick up points. Leeds are starting to pick up points. Villa's starting to pick up points. Leicester are starting to pick up points. So I think, a bad run of form, it's going to be hard to sort of stay in that group of teams if we don't win some games. And there's a little stat I posted in the group earlier. So this is technically his 5th season, although season 1 was a partial season. This one was obviously now a partial season for him. But his points per game record it was 1.3 in his first partial season, 1.37 in his first full season, then down to 1.13, down to 1.05, down to 0.86 this season, which, like, it's not good enough. And I like Ralph. I like what he was trying to do, but he couldn't do it consistently. He was trying to get us to play, high pressing football, aggressiveness. But I mean, too many teams figured it out. They either were good and played through the press, or they just went, no, we're going to play long. And we'll, if you have the ball, then you can't press us. And we weren't good enough when we had the ball. And on the times when teams could break our press, we were just too open defensively. Like Newcastle were doing that all the time at the weekend. They were just pulling us apart. And I think, the players actively disliked him, from what I heard in the summer, that a lot of players wanted him gone then. He's sort of, because he started off when he joined us, he was quite jovial, quite happy. quite energetic. And then after a couple of seasons, apparently he just sort of became quite cold and distant to players, which when you've got a young squad isn't really that helpful. So, I mean, yeah, it seemed like it was coming to an end. I was sort of calling for it a few weeks ago. He got a couple of results, turned it around. You have to give someone, so you can't really fire someone when they go out and do that. But yeah, it felt inevitable. The result was poor at the weekend. Newcastle were a good team, but we kind of just let them pick us apart too easily. We didn't make it a game. We can make it a game against good teams at home. We've done that in the past, but
I'm just saying they're fourth. They're not only a good team, they're fourth. Third.
Yeah, they're fourth, but we drew with Arsenal the other week, and Arsenal were top of the league, aren't they, right now?
Yeah. But
so yeah, we can do it. We've beaten big teams. I'd at least want to see us give them a game, and we didn't give Newcastle a game, really. I mean, there were times we were a little bit unlucky when Newcastle were only 1-0 up and we missed a couple of big chances.
Yeah, you could have scored 3 goals after you went down 1-0.
Yeah, El Unity had a big chance. Che Adams had a big chance, but I mean, the defending was still poor for most of the game, and something needs to change. And unfortunately, that falls on the manager. And looks like we've lined up Nathan Jones from Luton already. The club have been given permission to speak to him.
Before you tell us something about Nathan James, I guess all I have to say with this, I agree with you on most of this, is that, you know, this is him getting fired is going to present like less difficulty on this podcast, because now I don't have to try to pronounce Hudson name, and Nathan James is way easier.
Ian,
So
you've
already got it wrong.
Who? Nathan James?
It's Jones.
Nathan Jones. All right, that'll be the last time. That'll be the last time. Jones is way easier than
it's the ghost of Ralph Hasenhüttl still bothering you.
Yeah. The ghost of his enunciation will always haunt me. A pronunciation of his name. So I'm all for a coach with a name that I can. Jones. See how easy that was? First time I ever heard of him, but by the second time I got it right. Hasenhüttl. Been watching him for 4 years. I can't still say that shit. So come on, Nathan.
He's a risk though.
What's the wasn't that kit man / manager in Ted Lasso also had the name Nathan, the guy who's going to be the next manager in the next season?
Yeah, but he had different surname.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't Jones.
We can probably have Ted Lasso versus Nathan in the Premier League now. Considering we already have Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, and we have to talk about Leeds too. So I'm glad you reminded me. That was one of the main things I wanted to talk about. But go ahead.
So yeah, it looks like Nathan Jones from Luton's going to be coming in. He's done a really good job at Luton on a tiny budget. He's got them promoted.
Mm-hmm.
They were League 2, I think, when he joined. They're in Championship now. They got playoffs last year. They shouldn't have got playoffs based on their squad and the budget they have, but they did, which was a massive overachievement. This is his second spell at Luton, though. He had one spell there, and then he quit to go to Stoke, who had a bigger budget, and it didn't go well. And then he went back to Luton, and it did go well. So he's only really done a good job at Luton. He was on the coaching staff at Brighton when Chris Hughton was manager. So he's been like an assistant and a first team coach before. But his managerial jobs, the only 2 he's had are these ones, I believe. And then, yeah, it's gone really well for him at Luton. But he's a charismatic guy. He's borderline arrogant. He'll upset some other teams with his behavior, I think. But he seems tactically very astute. Like, he played really good football in some of the leagues with Luton. Then in the Championship, they've been a bit more pragmatic because they've had to be, because they can't play great football with the players they have and the budget they have. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with us, because we've got a young team who are capable of playing football and need some tactical guidance. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with that, what he does with us. But I mean, I wanted to give it a chance. He would have been my first choice. There was other people I potentially wanted.
Who did you want for Christmas?
Hudson from Bodo Glimt in Norway. I like him. I think he's a really exciting young manager.
You would have taken a coach from the same league that Ollie won in?
Yeah. I
That's
would have. I
interesting.
like that. I like this guy. Brighton were looking at him as well before they settled on De Zerbi. And I think he's got a good future. There was Marcelo Gallardo was referenced as well, the River Plate manager. He's won some pretty big things in South America. He's got quite a few seasons of experience now. I mean, all of these guys would have been a risk though, because none of them are the only real sort of Premier League managers that were in the running in terms of the odds were like people were mentioning Dyche. But he's experienced in getting a.
How would you have felt if you got Sean Dyche?
I would have given him a chance to see what he does, because he's talked about. He's given interviews since leaving Burnley where people have said like, oh, you play long ball football and physical this and all of that. And he said, well, no, I did what I had to do at Burnley. He said that's not necessarily how I would manage other teams. So I would have been willing to give him a chance. The guy's experienced. He kept Burnley in the league for a lot of seasons. Obviously the final season didn't go great, but he kind of stayed there too long, I think. So I would have given him a chance, but he wouldn't have been top of my list. I would have taken him over Gerrard every day. Gerrard was one name that was in the mix that I really, really didn't want. He just seemed to not have anything about him at Villa, especially after Beale left and took over at QPR and has got them flying. It's like, okay, well, that guy was the brains behind the operation at Rangers and there. Then, so yeah, it's an interesting appointment. I think. Rasmus Ankersen, the Danish guy who's sort of our sporting director, he is a very smart guy. He did a lot of good work at Brentford in the past, so I'm sure he wouldn't make this appointment. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but I'm sure he wouldn't be going after this guy if he didn't think he could do a good job. The last time a team hired a manager who couldn't get a championship team with a small budget out the playoffs was Brighton when they hired Potter. So if it turns out like that, great. But I mean, it's a risk though. It's a risk when we're in the relegation zone, bringing in a guy who's never managed Premier League footballers before. He's been around it at Brighton, so he's got some experience in that sense. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It's we needed something to happen though. We needed to freshen things up and give someone else a chance at this point. And yeah, thanks Ralph, but it didn't work out. We never quite kicked on. Everything kind of it regressed based on the points per game. So that's where we're at.
Right. What you?
I'll just leave that. Just give me a second.
All right, cool. I guess we'll go on to United before Neil gets back. And I just want to say, if you're Unai Emery, and you're going to coach your first game for Aston Villa at Villa Park, you're back in the Premier League. This United team is the team you would want to face. Like, it was like a gift to him. And not because I'm shitting on our team. It was a gift because of the condition that we are in as a team. So this has got nothing to do about, you're playing a team that has lost most of its starting forward line, as far as United is concerned, and the one starting player for the forward line, you have to play him out of position because you want to use the experience of Cristiano Ronaldo, who is not firing on all cylinders, but he can't play anywhere except in front. So then that forces our only starting forward out wide. So we had no Sancho, we had no Anthony, we had no Bruno, we had no Martial. Martial was on the bench and he came in later, but that's like, these are people, we planned on. That's where our wage bill is. You know what I mean? Like, if you count up the money that we spent, it's like right there. And then Ronaldo, he's just, I don't know if it's because he didn't have a preseason, but I spoke to Lloyd, who was actually at the game, and said, how was it watching Ronaldo play? And he said, he looked like he was trying too hard. And that's what he's looked like all season. Instead of being like Haaland doesn't panic when he's only get 6 touches in a game. You know what I mean? He trusts to stay where he should be. And the next 2 touches he'll probably put him in the net. Like, Ronaldo is playing like a youngster who just got on the team and is trying to prove that he belongs. So he's not firing on all cylinders. Now, a lot of people are blaming Ronaldo for not for the loss. It's not his fault. He's playing because everybody else is injured. So if people weren't injured, he wouldn't start. So he's available, so we start him. So I just want to kill that noise, right there. He's playing because he's available and everybody's injured. You can't blame it on him. This is where he is right now. No Bruno. A lot of people have been shitting on Bruno, and then they stopped over the last few games. But when you don't have Bruno, this is what we look like. Last week, I think it was it you, Lee, who asked me what position do if we only had one chance to get one player? I think you said in January, where would it be?
Yeah.
And where did I tell you?
Yeah, you
exactly
said in centre mid. Yeah.
It's exactly where Bruno or Eriksen plays. If we lose one of those guys, we're screwed. So we need somebody just as good, just like that in that position, and that proves that statement. That's where that link up that's so important, that helps the flow of the team. No Bruno, and then you're playing Donny. It starts his first game for the season. He's been off. He's been injured. So, it's just rough. Then you have Garnacho, brand new, played the game midweek against Real Sociedad, did really good. But you're starting a 19-year-old kid, I think, if he's that much in a Premier League game. And, it's just, there's a reason why they wean people into the league instead of throwing them right in. And then the problem with having Ronaldo and Van de Beek is that we press from the front. We start defending from the front. Like when you use two guys that ain't up for it, it's going to leave holes in the middle of the field and space for people to play through passing lanes. So that happens. So it's very important to get your front players right. And then Lissandro Martinez made some mistakes, but I think he's, again, played pretty much all the games, got to be tired. And Eriksen was off, got to be tired. The lot, got to be tired. It's just, Emery's guys had the whole week off and they're fresh. They got the new manager bounce. And we playing them at home, and that crowd, how Villa feels because they finally have a manager with the credits that he has. When a team with low self-esteem, when their fans get a manager that they just on paper, when they look at his badges, they're like, oh shit, that place was up for it. They feel like this might be the best manager. I don't know Villa's history like that, but it might be on paper their most decorated manager of all time. But I could be wrong. I know they won the Premier League before, but this guy has won. He got trophies. So
He's got
crowd,
50 Europa Leagues.
yeah, exactly. All the Europa Leagues except the one he's not playing in this year. So hey, Lloyd called me, and I graciously
declined the call.
Now, you know what I did? I accepted the call, and I was so gracious about the loss that it took the joy out of it for him.
Yeah.
And I didn't say all these things, but I said, Lloyd, we had a call about Thursday when I got to Phoenix, and I said, you guys are going to tie us or you're going to win. And I named all the issues. We have too many players missing. So this result, I'm not surprised. I'm just more worried about what are we going to do with our next two games? Who's going to be available? And which game do you sacrifice if you had a chance to just win one of the two? So where would you put your energy? I say put it into the league, but that's just me. So what do you guys think about Villa versus Man United? And Villa getting perfect storm of lucky and believing that Unai Emery is a real coach, which he is. Good. He played the 4-4-2. I mean, shitty. I'm not being a sore loser. 4-4-2. He made them tough. They're always tough to his teams are tough to score on. Lloyd told me that he did this thing where he pulled his midfield back and tightened it up, and it like just to see like a coach making an adjustment for a Villa coach in the middle of the game, that got the crowd really amped, and they counted us, which we do to teams. They counted us, and their boys was up for it, and he, great shit.
I mean, I thought it was like a very low percentage game by both teams. Like neither team were really doing a lot. Like even though I mean, it's crazy to say that in a game that had like 4 goals, but I don't think there were a lot of like clear chances. It was mostly happening, some really good goals, but I thought it was a pretty dead game from both teams, and I think we're going to see a few of these leading up to the World Cup, where players are looking more towards the tournament, and even managers are like, there's only that many band-aids I can put over this team before
Hold on, is this going to be your excuse when we get to the Chelsea review? Are you like?
Oh no! We have far bigger issues. Our issues are going to continue way beyond the World Cup.
Yeah. So, because Villa don't really got any World Cup players. They got, Matty Cash, who just turned Polish 3 weeks ago in time for the World Cup. That's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think mostly like even from United's point of view, right? Oh, by the way, I think Lisandro Martinez really escaped not getting a red card.
He did.
He tried really hard to get a red card, because it wasn't just 1 elbow. I think it was 2.5.
but we know. I think VAR has been hearing us complaining, and they was like, "Get a Donovan Bailey. You grew up in Jamaica. That did not hurt you."
Yeah. I mean, United's had a bunch of good performances. So, and you see, like, with starting the young players, you are going to expect inconsistency, and I'm not really that surprised that Villa party on a bad day and it really should have been a tie in my opinion, because I don't think Villa were that much greater than United.
Thank you.
Yeah. But having said that, I think United were pretty bad. So
yeah, we were.
Maybe the new manager bounce is a thing. It does happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen to teams, especially like Villa, were so down. Like you can only go up from there.
Yeah, that game showed how much those players were out of love with Gerrard, and it's like it's your first date with with the girl that swiped right on you on Hinge, and you're like, and we have a lot in common based on our profiles. Let's go. And
this girl is out of their league. Like Unai Emery is a serial trophy winner, and a couple of years ago he was managing Arsenal. So this is I think his stock has only risen. Like it's great to him that he had almost become a meme at one point in England, and he goes back to Spain and does a great job.
Yeah. I don't know if you got anything, Lee. If not, we could then move on.
I think you guys were a little hard done by. I think in terms of on the balance of play and the chances, it was a pretty even game. It could have easily been a draw.
That's what I'm talking about. My man.
But credit to Villa. Villa were clinical. That was the difference. Bailey didn't mess around with his chance. When Digne had that free kick, he put it perfectly. Have you seen the Villa of Emi Martinez, the goalkeeper, lining the attacking players up in the wall for that goal? I'll send it to you. It's really interesting. He came running up the pitch. He was stood like near the halfway line, the goalkeeper, and he was lining up where the Villa players were going to stand in the United wall to sort of manipulate it a bit. It's an interesting video. But yeah, I mean, Digne obviously took that really well, and then Ramsey was clinical on his chance. But you guys had the chances, like Garnacho's chance, where the ball, you were sort of a little bit of combination play around the box. He got into a good angle, hit it sort of a nice area for Martinez to make the save. Ronaldo's header forced a save from Martinez, but he could have, I think, tried to get it a bit more in the corner. So you guys had some good chances, and like I say, if you look at the stats, United have more possession, shots are fairly equal. So it definitely wasn't like because I mean, when I was watching the goals coming through, it looked like, oh, United are getting a whooping. But then actually like went back and watched the game, and I was like, oh no, this is I mean, I think as a United fan, you don't need to be worried about it. You can just write it off as being one of those games because you were in some good form before this, and it wasn't a bad performance. So yeah, just want to move on from and forget.
By the way, like United is, you're not expected to win every game, so it's not a disaster result.
Right, it's only a disaster for people who thought we're going to finish top 4. Like I said, we're not, and the reason why we're not is showing up right now. We lack depth, and I do want to give credit to Villa for being clinical, because you're right. Like when I saw Donovan Bailey, like it's not that like Martinez got beat on that shot per se. It's just that shot, that's the best point, best velocity, and best placement you could take on that shot, and it went in. And that free kick, same thing, perfect. And Ramsey's delivery of a ball coming to you across the field to place it somewhere in the net, perfect. Like clinical shit for Villa, but you still got lucky. So I agree. That's my shade. Now, what the hell happened at goddamn Chelsea, Neil?
I think we got what was coming. I mean, it's...
Well, how did let Arsenal do that to you?
Well, actually, they didn't do enough. I don't think Arsenal had one of the best games either, because they could have buried us and made us look really, really stupid. At the end, they got a goal out of a fake corner. I almost felt like it went straight in from the corner. It was a very scrappy goal.
I just watched Match of the Day again, and I watched that game. I was like, as much as Arsenal played better than you, they scored a really lucky goal.
Yeah.
It's that's the type of goal we let in high school.
It literally had like 2 players. I think Havertz failed to clear. Silva, for some reason, thought of getting out of the way to give Mendy a clear shot at look at the ball, but he moved too late. So therefore, Mendy didn't get a look at the ball, and then it went past him. And Cucurella on the other side was holding on to the, I don't know which
Xhaka. He was asking Xhaka
out.
He's asking Xhaka where he got his watch.
Yeah. So it was a bad goal to concede. We haven't played well for a while now, so it's not like it came as such a big shock. I think it was the first time in a long time we went into a game against Arsenal and nobody had the belief that we were going to win, even though it was at home. So kind of reflects where we are at in the season. So seventh. I mean, 7th is actually, we're lucky being 7th, because some of those performances, we've had a little bit of stroke of luck in getting 3 points. It could have been, we should actually be mid-table strictly. We should be around the 10th, 11th, because I was looking at a whole bunch of metrics. I think if you look at shots on target, XG, open play, XG, but chances created, big chances created, we are in that 11th to 13th position in all of those. So we're not even top half in any of these attacking metrics. And that sort of it's not sustainable. Like, you can't be a serious team, you can't be a top 4 or a top 6 team with that sort of performances. So
who are the teams in the top of those matrix?
I think the usual suspects, like City, Liverpool, Arsenal, obviously. Even Liverpool are not doing that bad. They're like, I think, 5th or 6th. And
I can tell you here,
they're right behind you. They're 8th. They got 2 less points than you.
Yeah.
In terms of like the metrics, Man City are top in terms of XG. That's like an XG for and against kind of thing. Arsenal second, Newcastle third. Liverpool are actually fourth
Yeah.
based on that, rather than their eighth place. So they're underperforming in terms of the chances they're converting. Brighton are still fifth, then Spurs, then Brentford.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean we're underperforming. Yeah, Leeds are after that. I guess Fulham, Brentford, Man United are right bang in the middle, and then Chelsea one more below Man United. We're not in the bottom three in terms of that metric as well. So there's definitely an underperformance on our side with the chances we're missing. But yeah, that's how it's looking.
I was seeing this thing about this, they try and look at XG and XG against, and then they do what would be the expected points per game. Like it would be you expect to win. If it's like too close, they just give it as a draw, or if there's a substantial lead, then one team obviously wins. And based on that, we and Wolves have the same number of expected points, and now Wolves are in relegation, whereas we are the seventh. So we've actually done better than what our performances, like the points are better than our performances. So I don't know where we go from here, like with Potter. I obviously want to want him to be given time, but I don't think this club and this fan base has the appetite for finishing 8th, 9th, 10th in the league and still giving somebody time. I just don't. I know he's been given a 5-year contract, but I mean, if things continue this way, and I don't see how things are going to improve, because all our difference makers like Conte, Reece James, they're not coming back anytime soon. Chilwell just had an injury, so things are only getting worse and worse. And who knows, after the World Cup, Thiago Silva might fall off a cliff, trying to extract every last drop of blood for his last World Cup campaign. I'm really worried about where we're going to finish and what that means for Potter's future. I mean, I'm okay with finishing top 6, because I feel that's where, like, my aim at the beginning, like when we did the preview show, I was saying that I think we're going to finish 4th. And then when Tuchel was sacked, you have to drop that down, because now we have a new manager who's got no preseason with the team. He's got none of his players, even though maybe Cucurella was a player he'd have liked to have, but he didn't have the transfer window to build the team. And you've thrown him into a position where the team has been constantly playing. This is the kind of season you're having. A game every 3 days, without a break. Like every week has been like that. So he's not obviously getting any time on the training pitch with the players. So and some of the language that's been coming out of his press conference, like he said, we've been, we huffed and puffed. I never want to hear that from a manager. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, we huffed and puffed. Like that's for a disgruntled fan to say. Like, to hear a manager actually say that was very shocking to me. So I feel like I do feel like the owners kind of set him up to fail. So I don't really blame him. We went into a season and then within a month changed our manager, downgraded as a manager, because no matter how good Potter can be in the future, at the point the decision was made, he was obviously not as good a manager as Thomas Tuchel. So it is looking really bad.
What's the team that he beat in the Champions League that Tuchel didn't beat in the Champions League?
Zagreb.
It's going to be tough. I feel like the World Cup break is actually probably a good thing for him to like clear his head.
I thought the Queen dying was good for him, because then he got almost a month to prepare, but obviously not, because none of his players were good.
He said almost a month. Well, the Queen dying was good for him because the results were good. So he did take advantage of it. So now no Queen dying, but still another break. But you won't have the players that you have when the Queen died, but sometimes you just need time to breathe. You'll get time to breathe. There'll be no losses. You got 2 games. Who you got this week in that cup? What's the name of it? Is it
we got Man City.
Cup? Holy shit. All
We
right.
got the
Who you
first look
got
of Erling
after?
Haaland.
Who you got this weekend then? Let's go to
Newcastle
that.
United.
Oh shit. All right. So so who would you like to be your new manager come after the World Cup then? Because
I hear there's a gentleman who's down in my home country of India recuperating, Thomas Tuchel. He's been down in India. He's been chilling. It's crazy. Like Chelsea fans found him there, and like that place, the part of India he went to, Kerala. It's it's supposed to be. It's known for being this, like a very laid back beach towns. Known for Ayurveda, all of the holistic treatments and stuff like that. And he's obviously gone there to unwind and like just relax, have a relaxing holiday. And every place he goes, there's Chelsea fans taking pictures with him and like clicking him. Like, no matter how well they pitch it to you, you can't go to India with any sort of a public profile and expect to have a relaxing time.
Yeah, you need to go on holiday in like a private compound or something if
If
you've been a Premier League manager.
I don't even know how this happened. The fans were there at 3 a.m. when he landed at Kochi airport.
Like he's on tour with Chelsea.
Yeah, and there are fans in Chelsea.
Hey man, I don't work for them no more. Like we don't care.
They're like fans in Chelsea gear. So obviously, the guy who was supposed to pick him up leaked this information, right? Like somebody told somebody.
Leak or sold.
Yeah,
I'd love it if Chelsea just rehire him though, like treat Potter like a substitute teacher. Like you came in and covered for a little bit.
He was sick. He got back. The Ayurveda treatment, and now he's ready to come back.
Yeah, let bygones be bygones.
Have him
join those WhatsApp groups that he didn't want to join before.
No, but he wouldn't have to join him now because now there's a staff that was there now that wasn't there. So then now he can be like, hey, you can come back. You don't have to do the extra stuff that I needed you to do, and you could just do your job.
Yeah, he'd love that.
Yeah, he'd love that. You just don't have some players.
I do hope we get to see Omari Hutchinson this midweek because there's some rumors that. So he's the kid who we got from Arsenal's academy at the beginning of this year, during the summer, and he's been doing really well. Like he's got I think in 7 games he's got 8 or 9 goals and assists, and all of them really he plays almost like a creative winger, and he's been doing really well. So, and he qualifies for Jamaica. And they're supposed to play Cameroon in a friendly on Wednesday. So he got a call up Wednesday, the day after.
This Wednesday?
Yeah, this Wednesday.
There's an international.
There's some sort of international friendly. But he was told to not commit himself to that game, because there's an outside chance he might actually, get an appearance versus Man City in the cup. So I'm hoping we can use some newness in the attack.
I think Man City are going to rotate as well, because I think Cancelo's banned from his red this weekend because it's all FA sanctioned competitions, and then Haaland, it wouldn't surprise me if they bench him again because it's a game they don't need to win; they need to preserve him for the league. So yeah,
Man City wants to win everything. Pep wants to win everything, but their rotation.
I mean, they'll still be good.
Starting 11,
yeah. De Bruyne will probably still be playing.
Yeah. Let's roll over because I want to get to Leeds. So if we get to Tottenham, spotting Liverpool one half of a football game, and then Liverpool spotting Tottenham the second half of a football game to come up with 3 goals scored in the same end of the field based on the dominance of anybody who played in that half of the field. It became a half-court game, and then, it was almost like American football when you say, all right, you won the toss, you get the ball, you're on offense. And then now, turnover on downs, you get the ball coming out the second half, you're on offense. And that's what that game was like. And but Tottenham paid for laying down on their back in the first half and just not doing nothing. Like if you could be that good in the second half against a legit team, why not do it the entire game? Because if you don't, and they score more goals than you in the half that you give them, then you get no points. So what is this Jekyll and Hyde shit that Tottenham is doing?
Every
What do
game,
you guys think
every
about
game.
Every game. Like
Every-
they tried to Bournemouth Liverpool. Like it worked last week. So shit, let's Bournemouth them again. Let's give them the first half. Go ahead. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't get why Conte hasn't learned. He's just done this every, like, especially every big game they've had. Obviously the Bournemouth one, they changed a bunch of players, so maybe that's why they were shit in the first half against them, but like did it against Sporting. They've done it in like so many games this season where they just want to sit back and soak up pressure.
Did it against Marseille?
And then they got let off against that because Marseille couldn't finish. But Liverpool got Salah. They can finish. They can take those chances. Nunez was unlucky; he didn't get one as well. And yeah, just like this, it's crazy that they are where they are in the league because they obviously, they scrape some wins and other teams around them just haven't put any good form together. Because like you guys could have gone level with them if you won against Villa, and you still would have had a game in hand as well. So they're almost begging teams to catch them, but no one seems to be up for the challenge. So it infuriates me that they are where they are in the league because they don't deserve to be. I think they've been shit. And Spurs fans agree. They booed them off the pitch. Like there's fans I know who hate Conte and they hate watching his football because it's horrible. And like he's got good players at that club and he's playing with the handbrake on. And it's mad. Like you shouldn't have to go 2-0 down or have a really shit first half to then come out and try and chase a game and try and swing the momentum that way. Because occasionally you can do it against average teams who aren't taking their chances. But you play the good teams. You look at all the good teams they played this season, they've lost.
Here's how terrible Spurs are. Like they coming to the season, with Conte being there for a while now, they're having a good transfer window. Kane and so on, obviously still there. They were, rated to be the team that is going to now start pushing Man City and Liverpool for the title.
They were?
Yeah, I mean, you all spoke about it. And
I
you didn't say that they would, but there was a lot of talk because apparently they won the transfer window.
I gave them top 4.
And the fact that they do have Antonio Conte now, and they finished top 4 last time, so you obviously expect them to do better. But you look at United, Chelsea, and Liverpool's fallen off a cliff. These 3 teams have fallen off a cliff, but they're still within touching distance of Tottenham Hotspur. Like that shouldn't happen.
But Tottenham is falling off a cliff, low key. Like they're just sliding slower.
They're still like getting escaping through a hurricane goal here and there, but they've tried to do that now a bunch of times where they just pretty much sit back. And I found it pretty weird that Liverpool actually started playing like Spurs in that second half. This latter part of second half where they were giving Spurs all the ball, and something like initially it looked like even Spurs didn't know what to do with the ball because they're like, we are not used to it.
Oh, you're giving it to us? All right.
What is this? 60% possession? But credit to them. Like they put on a lot of pressure. They could have easily equalized. There was that header that went a little wide. There was that one shot that that could, if it had a little bit more power behind it, could have gone in. But Liverpool didn't really have to break much of a sweat. I don't think it was a great Liverpool performance either, but they got the 3 points.
Yeah, something's up with Liverpool when I think who's their left back again?
Robertson
in the interviews, I think we played well on the ball in the first half and well without the ball in the second half. And it's like, a Liverpool Champions League winner is saying this? Like, that's not how you want to go out. So I feel like, one of you guys mentioned that, just what you mentioned in this about Liverpool's lack of activity in the second half shows that they were like, we got to hold on to this 2-goal lead. And they went like into a low block, lower table team to just try to get the 3 points in the whole second half. Like they kind of
they were doing that with the lead though. Spurs just go out like that from the start. It's
no,
like,
I know, but it's dangerous either way because Spurs still
Yeah.
has Harry Kane. Harry Kane is a baller too. Like his goal was dope, and just his interplay with his other teammates. Like it was one of the things that did stand out, at least in the second half. Just all football this weekend. He's a baller, man. He's real quality.
He's not so much of a baller when he's having to sit 10 yards outside his own box because Conte won't let him over the halfway line. Though.
You don't like it when he's playing CDM? He's a great CDM. But yeah, that's the story of that. And I just want to give some time, man, to this Leeds. Because my question is, and Lee, you're in England, right? Are Leeds fans racist towards their American coach because he's an American coach? Because they're booing at home down 2-1 at first, 2-1. And I'm like, yeah, you're down 2-1, but your team is actually really trying. It's not like the 2-1 where your team is like not doing anything and there's no effort. It's like they're down 2-1 because they were trying to get goals and they left themselves a little open. But if you are Leeds and you haven't won anything in a while, your team is definitely playing entertaining and blue-collar football at the same time. So why are you making it harder on your coach, putting the whole team at halftime? So that it's a little suspicious. And I know he's following Bielsa, and you love Bielsa, but listen, they won this game, right? And they're 15th. So number one, you're not that low. No, they won this game, and they're 12th. So you're not that bad in the table to be booing at halftime down 2-1 to. Yeah, I know it was it Bournemouth? I know it's Bournemouth,
Yeah.
but Bournemouth, their first 6 games with this interim coach, got points from all the games, and they lost to Spurs last week. But it's Spurs, have their Spurs. So is there a little English racism towards their American coach? And as far as coaching for this game, this was like watching the Rocky version of a football match through the eyes of an American coach. Like, you take all these hits in the beginning of a fight, you go down 3-1, and then you somehow coach your team off the floor and get a punch in, and then you keep going to the body, then you keep going to the body until you finally take the head, and then you win, and then you get to scream out for Adrian afterwards. But this was like the Rocky version of. But so shout out to Jesse Marsh. You're 12th, Leeds. You're 12th. This is kind of crazy.
I would kill for 12th right now.
Exactly. 12. You're 5 points. Now where are you from? You're 4 points from being 10th, and you're booing your coach. Is there something going on? Is it because he's American? What's the deal?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of unrest there previously from the run they went on, because they didn't win for a lot of games. They beat Wolves on the 6th of August, and then they didn't win a game again until Liverpool on the 29th of October. So they had that shit spell. But like, your team's just won at Anfield. Like, there should be. I think that feeling sort of set in during that run though, where they went almost 2 months without a win, because they were looking a bit fucked at that point, and Marsh's language was pretty negative in his interviews and stuff. But then they turned it around at Anfield, and then in this game, I mean, 2-1 at halftime wasn't a boo-worthy score. Fans are probably frustrated that they went 1-0 up and then threw it away, but they went 1-0 up through a penalty. So yeah, I mean, you think they would be a bit more behind the team? You know, Leeds have got quite a sort of famously loyal and loud fan base. So direct that
Right.
behind the team rather than at the manager halfway through a game. Because they got some exciting young players. They got players who've come out of nowhere this season as
Yo,
well.
I want to
Like
start reading some of
Somerville.
Somerville, bro. Somerville won the Anfield game. He's a Dutch player, and they got some guys that can hold on to the football. And you know when teams play directly with the long pass, these guys dribble like a long pass. So there's Somerville.
There's Gnonto, the Italian kid who set up the winner for Somerville.
Baller. You can't even like. They tried to get the what do they call that foul that Pep originated in football? The technical. You know when you get the yellow.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
The tactical foul.
The tactical foul. He's like, nah, I don't want that. I'm gonna keep dribbling this, like for the was that for the winner? And that's like
that was the winner,
yeah, and that's like one of the best game winners I've ever seen. And then Aronson is just balling, and I just was gonna be. I was thinking the whole game, Pulisic should just try to get out of Chelsea and come here and make this the complete American.
Yeah, they are calling
MLS
this America's Premier League team.
Yeah, they are.
Some of the other young players they had were great though as well. Like this Greenwood kid who came on, Sam Greenwood.
Yes.
He's ex-Arsenal. He looked decent. Gelhardt, who he sort of started playing towards the back end of last season. Gelhardt
last year, right.
And looked good, and then he's come in, but he's still super young as well. So they've got these young players who are stepping in and doing something for them. But Somerville was probably the standout for me. Like, I mean, I know he scored the winner, but he won the penalty.
He won the penalty. Yes, he won the penalty.
Yeah.
And Rodrigo took the penalty. He won last week at Anfield, that goal last minute.
Yeah.
And then there's other things to think about if you're Leeds too. Like you lost an international midfielder, right? He was sold, and you lost Rafinha, who's an international player for Brazil, who's predicted to win the World Cup, and then your leading scorer was injured last year, and he's back this year, Bamford, and he's not doing it, and he's scared in front of goal. And somehow your coach is like has to find solutions. There's no money. I don't know if Leeds have money, but they spent some money. But now he's like digging in the crates and finding shit, and so it's like support your team, bro.
He's playing so bad he can't even make it to my Cobham squad in the fantasy league. Bamford. Like, I'm having to depend on Michael Olise scoring. He did.
Solanke
scored.
Solanke's been balling.
Yeah. I don't know what do Leeds fans expect? You're not in a situation. You barely saved off relegation last season. You're probably people's choice for another relegation battle this season. So yeah, you're doing good. How many managers are you gonna fire, and who are you gonna get? Like, it's not like getting a job at Leeds is a very lucrative position right now.
Yeah, what has Leeds done in the Premier League in the last 15 years that they're 12 and booing at halftime? I'm perplexed. So explain to me, if you're a Leeds fan, why. When you're playing entertaining football, but you're not getting the results, and your team is not only playing, there's no passengers out there. Everybody's busting their ass, and you've rooted for your team for football for a while. Sometimes luck has to just go in your favor. But to give the fans credit, they did get back on the team side, and to give the players credit, like they just shut out the negativity, started playing, kept playing their positive football, made their adjustments, and give the fans credit for jumping on their back. And it's when you watch that crowd cheer for that team in that stadium, that's a cauldron, and you want to be one of the ingredients of that cauldron if you're on that team. And Rodrigo was pissed at 3-3 when they took him out, because he's like, he could feel the winner coming and he wanted to be a part of it, and he got subbed out. But
he's in my fantasy team. I wanted him to be a part of it. He'd already got me one goal. I needed more from him. I'm trying to catch Martin.
Damn. So we could do go down the rest of the table, but I think those are the biggest moments. And then what do you guys think of Lopetegui? Going to be Wolves' new coach now. They're in 19th place, but he's smart. He's going to come after the World Cup, and he's going to have time during the World Cup to to put something together. So he's not just walking into the situation cold.
I hope it's a shit show. They're one of our rivals for relegation now. I hope it's a shit show there. I hope he takes them down. I hope he looks forward to managing in the Championship next season. I need other teams down there to not sort their shit out. That's what I'm banking on. So yeah, fuck Wolves, fuck Lopetegui. They can burn. I actually don't mind. I actually don't mind Wolves as a club, but right now they're the enemies. So
question, Lee, would you have taken either Lopetegui or Emery for Southampton manager?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're both way bigger than us as a club, as managers. So 100% I would have taken them. Yeah, I mean, let's hope the guy we're getting from the Championship can match up. I mean, like I say, Jones, he's got everything to gain if he comes in and does a good job. He'll make a name for himself. But yeah, on paper, his CV is nowhere near those two guys.
Yeah, it's so weird, the whole timing thing, right? You could have probably had either of those two if you made the sack earlier than these guys.
We could have had De Zerbi, who Brighton got, if we'd have pulled the trigger even earlier.
It's crazy. How many 4 or 5 managers already this season?
Yeah. No, right now the pool's probably at its worst for managers you can get. Like I say, it's just Gerrard, Dyche, it's no thanks.
It's terrible.
Would have maybe given Dyche a chance, but yeah, there were better guys around a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. But yeah, bad luck to Wolves. I hope it's terrible.
Hilarious. What do you guys think of some of these Championship draws, Champions League draws?
I mean, there's two former finals in there right off the bat as well. The Liverpool Real and Bayern PSG. Big games.
Huge. I mean, clubs, they base how well they did in the Champions League by what round they go out in or get to. But it's not fair, because who you go out to in those rounds, there should be just as much emphasis on it's not like you're just going out to Bruges or Benfica in the first what is this stage called again, and why is it my brain working?
The round of 16. Yes, one before the quarters.
If PSG goes out to Bayern, they'll call it a complete failure, but it's Bayern. You know what I mean? It's not like they don't have a squad. They're the German champs, and they've just won it 2 years ago. They'll call this whole PSG thing a failure. And the same thing with Bayern. If they go out in this round, they'll call it a failure. But you're going out to Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi. It's I don't know how Club Brugge ended up with Benfica, but they both got lucky. How do you both get lucky? With picks like that.
I would say even Inter Milan Porto is kind of a non-heavyweight clash. Both teams.
Yeah. If you're those two teams, you don't want each other either.
Yeah. Other than the
Chelsea
fact
did okay. You gotta be happy with yours.
I mean, right now I'm scared of every team, but yeah, in a normal world, yeah, I'd take Dortmund. I would take Dortmund, and I'd take a couple of these other teams. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Conte is miraculously Conte again after the turn of the year. Reece James is back. Yeah, maybe we can actually do something. But yeah, it's not the worst.
are you trying to buy Jude?
Bellingham,
Because
yeah, why not?
so then you'll get a nice look at him and shit.
Yeah, we tried to. I think we did a good demo versus Rafa Leao at AC Milan. Another guy we're trying to buy, and get this. The Champions League draw happened, right? And then they have like some of the officials from every team giving out these press bites. And Chelsea put out David Barnard, who's he's on our board. And he said something super weird. He's like, there's a lot of water to be flown, water to be flown under the bridge until we get to that game. Who knows? But we had the transfer window. We could have two completely different teams by then. I'm like,
who is this guy? What's his significance for y'all?
He's on our board, he's on our executive board. I don't know what his exact position, but he basically hinted at Chelsea having this bumper January transfer window that could lead to us having a completely different team.
And that's something you'd like to hear, right?
No, because decisions made in January are historically some of the worst decisions you can make. So yeah, I'd
like
keep
Chelsea or just the world of football, period.
I mean, the reality is like the best players are not going to be available in January, so you're going to end up making mistakes, in my opinion, unless you can
Chelsea,
get some. Yeah,
Chelsea just have never been known to be patient, so it might have been instead of firing a coach, buying him some players. You know what I mean?
Possibly.
Instead of being hasty that way.
Yeah, I don't know what these owners thought can happen. Like, did they think we're a super stable club where everything is in place? So if you just change the manager, it's not really going to cause a big rupture. In fact, Thomas Tuchel, at the time the decision was made, was probably the most stable part of Chelsea. Like, our keeper, we were, changing keepers. Our defense was completely brand new. Our midfield is injured, going out of contract soon. Our attack line hasn't performed in years now. And then you go ahead and change like we have new owners, our backroom stuff is changing. And you go ahead and change the only thing that's actually, you actually have a good player, good quality there. So
I got a serious Chelsea question for you. Was Marina Sky on that Indian beach with Tuchel?
No. But there was he did have a lady companion, because these, like, as Indians, we like privacy is something that is absolutely alien to us. Like, we don't have any concept of boundaries. So dude's just been divorced. He's probably with he's probably got a new girlfriend or somebody. And he's in India, and he's just having a meal at a, pretty much like a hole-in-the-wall establishment, and people are just going up to him and taking pictures from far. But you can see, like, who he is with, and putting him up on blast. So, yeah, but not Marina Granskaya. Which, on a related note, there was investigation that just happened. By the London police. So Marina, in the last couple of months before they left, she was being blackmailed by this agent, and so this report came out like a couple of months before, but nobody knew who this agent was. But now that agent has been arrested, so that information is public. It is actually this guy called Sethi. He is Rudiger's agent. So, that whole deal, which looked really weird, now has just turned way more weird now. Like, the whole thing about how his contract was not renewed. And then Rudiger, when he's leaving, gave out this big interview and this video interview saying that, he felt like there was a lack of respect. Yeah, that story just got a whole lot more complex.
But what did they say he was trying to blackmail her with? Rudiger? Or
no, he's the agent, I don't know if Rudiger is personally involved. Obviously, we wouldn't know that right now. But the agent was trying to blackmail Chelsea and Marina, I mean, through Chelsea, to get more money for himself.
But how though? Like normally people have photos or information or something that they want back.
No, he was
Files.
he was demanding additional £300,000 payment for
Oh, just
himself.
illegally, right?
Yeah.
How come what's his name who died gets away with that, but this is illegal for this guy?
I think if you go through the proper channels and do it over the table,
Oh, I see.
It's there was some form of a malicious communication. My memory is a little hazy now because the actual texts and emails were leaked like months before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try and bring that up.
All right,
It was okay. It was a threatening email.
Threatening.
Okay, so this is what he says.
Uh-huh.
I'll make you pay for the way you've been. That's not a threat, it's a promise. If Chelsea don't pay, it's on you. See you when I see you. I'll give you the chance to make things correct if you apologize for your behavior towards me. If you don't, then I promise I'll make you pay for the way you've been with me on a personal business level. This is not a threat, so take it how you want. You know, he said it's not a threat.
I love how threaten someone and then say this is not a threat.
This is a promise that I give to anybody who, you know, fucks / tries to fuck me over anything in life.
This is not a threat. See you when I see you.
In summary, you owe me and my partners 300K, which need to get paid ASAP. If Chelsea don't pay, then the debt will be on you to pay. I'm done trying to be nice to you. So,
all right, and this is guy's Italian.
I'm not. So he's British. I don't know what his, you know, background is.
Yeah, I don't have anything on that right now. We'll circle back. Just to go over some of the Europa Leagues things, and then we'll go to the fantasy league where I'm sure I'm struggling. But so you know Moa, he's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
And I started a group chat with him and AJ Faji, who's been on the show a few times, is an Arsenal fan. And you know, all I did when I started the group was to welcome him to, he's a Barca fan, to the Europa League, you know? And he threw out all these threats. Well, you don't want to see us. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. You're gonna, like, very vehement, you know? Like, which is weird when you welcome somebody somewhere. That's not how you want your welcome to be received. But then now Barca and Man United have to play in this playoff thing. And it's not the team. Well, I would say Barca is better than us, but now I have to pretend when I see Moa that we're going to beat some Barca ass. But we also get to take one thing is that Ten Hag will finally get Frankie de Jong to play at Old Trafford, at least one of those games. But that is a tough ass matchup. That is not this is the matchup we were trying to avoid when we were trying to beat Real Sociedad. Because like something like this, like why did we end up with like Nantes or Union Berlin? Not to be disrespectful, but even PSV or Midtjylland. You mean Midtjylland? We could have played Midtjylland and we didn't get them. We got fucking Barcelona, even Roma. We take some Roma.
This is the football gods punishing you for throwing Maguire up top in that game. They were like, "No, you can have Barca for that shit."
Jesus, we'll never do anything like that again. If this is how we do it. Like, God damn, we couldn't get some Rennes. We get Barcelona. This is Union Berlin. No, Jesus Christ. They're strong.
The way this season's been with the the World Cup and everything. Like, it might be a blessing just going out to Barca and then having a fresh team for the rest of the season, because you guys could get top 4 and you might not, you might not want some distractions. You can just power through, tank all your cup games, throw the FA Cup when that comes around as well. Put your kids out in that, and just concentrate on the league and get that 4th place, because it's there for the taking right now.
Yeah, but you need all these extra games to like get players into the system. You almost, you can't like make all your experiments in the league, But I just didn't want Barca. Like, and then I don't want to lose to Barca. Like, I started a group chat with Moa to trash him. Then, like, for them to win, that'd be Jesus. So come on, United, hook your boy up. Juventus got Rant. I mean, that's the most outstanding thing. It's almost like they did this shit on purpose. This is this playoff holdout idea is some hokey shit that we came up with. So let's make at least one of the matchups like our marquee thing that people will want to tune in to the rest of this playoff bullshit that we made up to. Let's get like 2 name brand football teams together. And the best 2 name team brands besides Juventus in here is definitely Barcelona and Manchester United. There's something shady definitely with those balls for this to happen.
I do hope you absolutely kick Barcelona out of the Europa League, and they have to spend the rest of the season just watching Real Madrid win while the season goes nowhere.
Right. What would be the motivation for us to win this, to knock them out?
Oh, the Frankie de Jong derby.
Yeah, because then they not only lose the money from Champions League, they lose the less money that they would have made by staying a long time in the Europa League. And then they have no financial levers available. They're going to have to really clear out some salary. So now it will give us a better chance of getting him the less longer. So we should just be motivated. Our trophy that we should be playing for is Frankie de Jong. You know what I'm saying? Just to knock Barcelona out, not only to knock them out, but to also win this contest and get to the Champions League, so that he could be like, all right, I'm rolling with, you can't afford me, these people can, and they're in the Champions League, and they played their hearts out for me. I felt the love.
What if they let you have De Jong in January and just ask you to take it easy on them in the playoff?
I'll take it. No problem. The deal's a deal. A good deal's a good deal. Yeah. I'll let you win one dumb knockout round of nothing.
Yeah.
For a player that's going to be with us for like 5 to, years plus. That's the deal. Where are we at with the fantasy league? I'm afraid.
Oh, before we move on, okay. I just have one more thing. Did you guys hear the news about FSG putting Liverpool up for sale?
Yes, that was one of the things.
That's big, because Liverpool historically, PSG have run a business model where they don't take a lot of risks, and now, as you've seen with Chelsea's sale, there is a lot of interest. I don't know how things have moved a lot, and in the last 6 months, a lot of these financial establishments, interest, the market's not doing that great. So recession, everybody's talking about a recession. So I don't know if the interest is going to be the same, but definitely you'll have those big players again putting their hands up for this. And also I think Lee brought that up. Lee, do you want to mention the whole moral argument that Liverpool fans, always?
Yeah, Liverpool fans like a bit of that moral superiority, and I think if they end up getting bought by some shady nation state group or group of investors from somewhere, it might might make them pipe down a little bit. What if Abramovich bought it? Is he still sanctioned in the UK?
Hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Just gets the whole band back together. Gets Maria Granska there as well, and Bruce Buck. Just brings them all back.
Can you imagine Klopp after spending so much time ranting about oligarchs and Middle Eastern money, and then he just has to be, brought out for all these advertisement, these media gigs.
But
yeah, depending on who buys them, Klopp could look like a real hypocrite real soon.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like Klopp leaving Liverpool because of some ownership exchange and Tuchel going in right behind him is like a pattern that's already been established. So it's like, so it's like, and Tuchel has no problem working for an oligarch. Why not? So that it'll be even more.
I have a feeling though, like I don't know. I mean, again, depends on how it goes, but like in the Chelsea thing, apparently it did come out that Abramovich was a little bothered about. So they didn't really take any of the Middle Eastern interest to the last rounds because he didn't want that kind of cloud on the club again, because it can easily happen, right? So I think they went with a little bit of a safe bet with American money. And I don't know, maybe
you think American money is a safe bet as far as murder and pillaging is concerned.
They don't do the crimes that come on page one.
They control the PR of their crimes.
Yeah. So it's buried deep down. You'll have to buy a subscription to get to know all of that stuff.
I wonder if the Saudis though who bought Newcastle were looking at this like, fuck, we should have waited.
Well, they already said that. They already said that about Chelsea. They already said that about. No, they're on record saying that about Chelsea. Like some guy was involved in the transaction.
Yeah.
They're like, and if these guys knew, they're really regretting the fact that they didn't wait 6 months.
But would they? But the way Newcastle's doing now, Newcastle's 4th.
Yeah.
And like, we didn't get the chance to talk about them, but man, this team, like, here's the irony. We didn't talk much about City, but Jack Grealish wishes he was Almiron right now. You know what I'm saying? Like Gabriel, the defender from Arsenal, got more goals than Jack Grealish got this season. You know what I'm saying? Like Almiron is just going off. What this coach is doing, he's improving people that were on the list to be transferred out and sold, and making it hard for the team to even spend the money that they got to spend, because like everybody's just stepping up. Like I remember Longstaff, even before like they got bought out, was like falling out the picture, and then like he's in it stronger now, and then it's just like, and then you got people that were starting ahead of him when they come back from their injuries, and it's just like they're doing all this. Saint Maximin is like he's watching with his feet up on the bench, like it's crazy. Chris Wood scored. Is it Chris Wood?
Yeah. Because Callum Wilson couldn't last the whole game.
Yeah, and Isaacs is injured, and it's like how you drop 4-1 on a team with no Isaacs and no half a Wilson. No disrespect to Southampton, but I'm just saying that these guys are on one. Like they're ahead of Chelsea in the table. So if that guy wanted to like, it's a better name brand Chelsea, but you can make Newcastle into something.
Yeah, it's just more glamorous though. Saudis love London.
Yeah. So that's why they're rebuilding the entire Newcastle city.
Yeah, build another London.
Yeah. I think they're thinking of building a London Bridge in Newcastle. So what you got fantasy-wise?
I mean, congrats to Joseph Duda. He's off the bottom. He's now second bottom. Shout out Joey. Neil is third bottom. Solanke scored this week, but he was on Neil's bench because he still had Broja in his starting lineup, getting 1 point.
Oh damn! Because I actually thought Broja might play this time.
He almost Broja or Broja, same guy.
Broja,
yeah.
He almost scored this weekend too. He had a chance.
Yeah, we got 34 teams. So yeah, Neil's 32nd. Ian, you're 27th.
How?
I mean, you had Gabriel and Saliba, who both got clean sheets for Arsenal. You had Trippier, who got a bag of points for Newcastle. You had Darwin Núñez, who got an assist. You had Zaha, who scored and got an assist. So you had some people doing some stuff in there. I'm 8th at the moment. I've gone up a place. You had a fairly good week. You had 64 points. That was more than me and Martin got.
That's crazy. Why would I touch this thing? It's running on automatic pilot. I'd fuck this up.
But no, I mean, I did okay. I had Zaha who got a goal. I had Rodrigo got a goal. Trossard got an assist. I had Haaland and Kane. The one that killed me, I had Almiron on my bench though. Because I looked at all my other midfielders and I was like, oh, they're probably going to do well. I already had Trippier and Wilson in my team, but I wish I had Almiron in instead of Wilson now. I had Castagna on my bench as well, who got a clean sheet for Leicester, so I missed some points there, but I'm gaining on Martin. That's the main thing. I got 18 more points than Martin this week. Martin tanked because he backed Spurs hard. He had Cancelo, who did obviously got sent off, and yeah, so we gained some stuff on him. But yeah, top of the league still is Joachim Henriksen with Boca FC. He's still there. He got a decent amount of points this week. He had Almiron, Zaha, De
I'm going to assume what's his name? Jaka?
No, Joachim Henriksen. It looks Swedish.
Joachim Henriksen. Yeah, why does he name his team Boca? Is he
It's BOCKA. I don't know. I have no idea. Hit us up in the comments.
Hit us up in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know where you're from, what you're doing. But yeah, he's top. Jairo Dominguez is second with Lions. They had a really good week, 84 points. So yeah, there's some teams climbing. But yeah, they knocked Martin off number 2. Martin's down to number 3. I'm up to number 8. I'm going to catch him. I'm going to catch him before the end of the season. I can't let him
do this for us.
Bragging rights.
Do this for us, bro. Catch him.
But yeah. That's where we're looking with the fantasy right now.
All right, cool. That's not bad. I didn't think we was going to get through everything because that potential Liverpool sale, that was also on my list of things that I couldn't remember that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, you think it's because the market is just doing so bad worldwide and they lost a bunch of money? They're trying to like get some liquid in by selling some of the shares or selling the whole thing because it's I don't know what FSG, like what other businesses FSG is in. Is it FSG or FSU?
FSG. They're the Boston Red Sox people. So they have a lot of sporting.
Fenway Sports Group, isn't it?
And that's, Fenway, yeah. So they have a lot of interest in American sports. And so LeBron James is a minority stakeholder in Fenway.
Liverpool.
Fenway. In Fenway, and therefore by association in Liverpool. And there's some talk about, so LeBron wanted to buy a football team, right? Didn't he want to buy like a team in Vegas?
Oh, I don't know. The only team in Vegas is the Rams. Like a football, like American football or soccer?
There's a soccer team in there, the Las Vegas Lights. They play in the one that isn't the MLS, the USL or something.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So James he's been trying to buy start a new team in Vegas, the Vegas franchise for the NBA.
NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
And probably looking at beyond retirement and stuff like that. So there's some rumors that FSG is probably involved in that. So who knows? Like this is a lot of money. It's like I think Chelsea's sale was over 3 billion. This might easily be over or over that or around the same even then, because they can actually do it in a plan. Like Chelsea was more of a distress sale, right? Like they had to do something right away. But yeah, it's not great timing. It's coming in the middle of a season. I'm very curious to see what club has to say about this. Like even apart from the whole model thing, like generally his views on FSG, I think it's always been shrouded in secrecy. Like, does he get along with FSG? Like some of these calls, are they his calls? Are they FSG's calls? Are they both on the same page? So it'd be interesting to see what he says.
Right. I mean, it definitely throws the club in a gray area, because it's like you're about to sell this thing, or are you trying to sell some? Are they trying to sell the whole club or shares? They're just trying to raise some money. Like
No. They're selling the club.
So then they can't make any moves. Like this January window, the club definitely won't be sold by January. So you can't make any moves if you need something in January, which they need. They still have a midfield situation, So
They said they're committing to running the club as normal until then.
Yeah,
so.
That's what Elon Musk said when he was transitioning into owning Twitter.
Maybe he's going to buy Liverpool as well.
That's what he should have bought. I would have rather paid 5-6 billion for Liverpool than spend 43 billion for Twitter. Like, is Twitter making that much more money?
I mean,
not right now.
Yeah, I would have just.
He'd probably ask everybody $8 just to talk about Liverpool. Everywhere in the world, give out $8 if you want to tweet about Liverpool.
Yeah, there you go. I would have definitely bought Liverpool over that. I'm a Man U fan, or just bought Man United. Somebody trying to get them out of the Glazers.
He tweeted, like he joke tweeted about that once, right? I'm going to buy Manchester United.
Yeah, the fans wouldn't have wanted that. That would have been the first time the fans would have been like Glazers in. There's no way they want like Dogecoin, Elon sniffing around us. Well, guys, we did it. We covered mad topics and shit. We got it in. We all lost. But, we were in surprisingly decent spirits for a bunch of losers. And we got these midweek. It's a Caribou Cup game.
Yeah.
And we got to figure out like what we're going to do for the World Cup, like how we're going to do it. But we'll talk and then we'll tell you guys. I know a guy in Qatar. He was trying to get me to come out there. And he's a comic. I'm not going to go though, but he's a comic and he's hosting some events out there. So maybe we can get him on like the week before it starts to, he's showing me like videos of him being in all the stadiums, doing certain like events and like what's it like being there. So we could do like, he said he already said he'd come on. So that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah. But everybody out there, be good, man. Enjoy football, enjoy your lives, have fun. And we'll see you. Are we going to do a midweek joint? When is the Caribou Cup game?
Yeah, it's Wednesday. So yeah, we can do midweek.
All right, we'll do it Thursday.
Yeah.
Preview next weekend's games.
Yeah, preview next weekend. Yeah, because we didn't do that. All right, guys. Thanks. Peace, love, one.
All right, guys. Quick one.
Let's turn that off.